Litigation risk is minimal, and it's minimal because, frankly, it's non-existent because they're not going to know, and we're going to make sure they don't know because we're not even going to tell the judge who we're getting the gag orders on.
Welcome back to America Wake. I'm Wilson. That clip raises some serious questions. What stood out to me wasn't just what Representative Jim Jordan said. It was the logic behind his argument. According to Jordan, Justice Department officials recognized there were legal risks, recognized that members of Congress could challenge what was happening, and then relied on secrecy and gag orders to make sure those challenges never happened. No matter where you fall politically, most Americans agree on one thing. Government power should be used carefully and within constitutional limits. When actions appear to push those limits, people have every right to ask questions. Jordan's central point is simple. If investigators believed these lawmakers were unlikely to face charges, why were their records obtained in the first place? We're about to watch the full video, and afterward I'll share why I think Jordan raises concerns that deserve real answers. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to America Wake, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let's get into it.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. I want to go back to that email. If we could put that up, this email that Mr. Gill highlighted a few minutes ago. This is the justification from the public integrity section. If you look at the bottom, John Keller, public integrity section, for going and getting the phone records, toll records of members of Congress. And there's a couple of things I want to highlight. That first highlighted area, there is some litigation risk. So they admit there's some concern here. And they send this to the copy to Jack Smith's team. And then you go down later, as Mr. Gill pointed out, the case law is clear. A legislator may intervene and oppose such use. So the risk is real. But here's the deal. There was really no risk because we weren't going to know. They weren't going to tell us. They made sure they didn't tell us because they went to the judge and got a gag order. And look at the last sentence. The last sentence. Low likelihood that any of the members listed below would be charged. So they're not going to know because we're not going to charge any of these guys. They didn't do anything wrong. And so therefore, the litigation risk should be minimal. They're not going to be charged. We're not going to go after them. The litigation risk is minimal. And it's minimal because, frankly, it's non-existent because they're not going to know. And we're going to make sure they don't know because we're not even going to tell the judge who we're getting the gag orders on. And yet, Mr. Smith thought that was A-okay. That was just fine. That was in the letter and the spirit of the Constitution. I find that hard to believe. And you know why? You know why everyone knows it's wrong? Because the public integrity section at the Justice Department has now changed its policy. You can't do this anymore. They've changed their policy. But it was okay for Jack Smith to do it. Because we got to get Trump. We got to get the president. That's what this was all about.
After watching that full exchange, I think Jim Jordan raises some valid concerns. The biggest issue for me is not that there was legal risk. Major investigations often involve legal risk. The issue is the suggestion that officials knew there were concerns, but believed those concerns wouldn't matter because the people affected would never know. That is what makes Jordan's argument so powerful. If the email really stated there was a low likelihood that any of these members of Congress would be charged, then it's fair to ask why their records were being targeted at all. Jordan also highlights something many Americans will find troubling. The concern seemed less about whether the action could be challenged and more about making sure nobody had the chance to challenge it. That matters. Constitutional protections are supposed to apply whether people know their rights are being affected or not. If secrecy becomes part of the strategy, people are naturally going to question the process. Another point worth noting is that the Justice Department later changed its policy. That alone does not prove wrongdoing, but it does raise an obvious question. If this practice is no longer allowed, what made officials rethink it? Those are reasonable questions, and they deserve clear answers. I also think this speaks to a larger problem. Public trust in major institutions has been declining for years. When Americans hear that records were obtained from lawmakers who were unlikely to face charges, it reinforces concerns that government agencies may sometimes overstep their authority. What makes Jordan's remarks effective is that they focus on common sense. If charges were unlikely, Why collect the records? If there were constitutional concerns, why move forward anyway? If lawmakers had the right to object, why was secrecy so important? Those questions are hard to ignore. At the end of the day, Americans want equal treatment under the law. They want transparency, accountability, and confidence that government power is being used fairly. Based on what was discussed in this hearing, I believe Jim Jordan raised legitimate concerns that deserve serious scrutiny. But that's my opinion. What do you think? Did Jim Jordan expose a serious problem, or do you think the actions described were justified? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. I'm Wilson, and this is America Wake. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.